Hello, friends. So we are back and we are continuing Chapter 8, Why Unnecessary Chaos. So let's get started. Oneness is not the absence of duality, but the acceptance and integration of it. It is only when the mind, body, and soul accept each other unconditionally and unite, align, that we become the Holy Grail in living, breathing form, and therefore create the third energy as mentioned prior, the Christ consciousness in manifest. And when that occurs, we become literally unstoppable. There will be nothing that we can't create. Have you ever wondered why division is what creates the fall? Haven't you ever wondered that perhaps division is what drives the ultimate motive behind the tools of fear, guilt, and shame? Remember, united we stand, divided we fall. That pertains to you personally and to you globally. This should, however, not be misconstrued to now believe that you have a license to allow an evil side of you to come out and play freely, causing havoc or mayhem. That is not what integration of duality means at all. Of course, we all have light and darkness within us, but our mission here on this planet is to master our own minds, our own beliefs, our own actions, and not allow others, no matter how intimidating or impressive they may appear, to be our master. We are here to co-create our lives with divine consciousness, which is our true soul essence. We are our own master when we have integrated all aspects of ourselves and have allowed our true soul essence to fully emerge. It all begins with you seeking within and connecting deeply with your own soul, remembering who you truly are, and then deciding for yourself what you believe to be true. And then unapologetically, always remaining loyal to the self within, that is, divine consciousness, no matter what. And sometimes, most of the time, well, actually, all of the time, it takes a necessary chaos to bring that into fruition. Let's simplify things and just summarize all of it. Let's really simplify this experience that we are having here in this earthly dimension that we are journeying through. We are here to experience varying degrees of the full spectrum. This full spectrum has two very distinct and opposite degrees, one being fully negative and one being fully positive. Our purpose is to experience everything in between the two spectrums and learn to create by finding balance between the two using our own innate divinity, our true soul essence. That sounds very simple, doesn't it? I mean, when it's put in those terms, it sounds like a very simple task to accomplish. A task that should only take a few attempts, and then we should be able to grasp this concept and run with it. It's the simplest concept with the least amount of chaos. But let's go a little deeper. Let's look at what it means to experiencing the very degrees of the spectrum and all that it entails, and then become the master of our own experience and find balance between the two spectrums. We are born into a dimension that is governed by thoughts, emotions, and intention. So as we grow and learn to adapt to this atmosphere, we understand that while we encounter experiences along our journey, we have emotional reactions to these experiences. Which doesn't really sound like a problem, does it? However, When we have emotional reactions to our life experiences and we choose to hold on to the energy, which is emotion, and don't allow the energy to continue its natural flow, it creates an energetic imprint on our beingness. And because we know that everything is energy, we also know that energy does not go away. It can only transform. Energy can transform from one end of the spectrum of fully negative all the way to the other end of the spectrum, which is fully positive, and everything in between. So that means with every experience we encounter, we will have varying reactions ranging anywhere from fully negative to fully positive, and once again, everything in between. And with every emotional reaction we hold on to, we will incur an energetic imprint within our being that does not leave us, ever, but can only be transformed. The simplest concept has now become a little more chaotic. So let's go even deeper now. Let's look at what happens as we continue to experience varying degrees of the full spectrum and we continue to accumulate energetic imprints within our being that can only be transformed into a different degree of the varying degrees of the full spectrum of energy. Because remember, energy can only be transformed, it cannot be dissolved or made into anything other than what it is. So, what happens to all these energetic imprints that we accumulate throughout all these experiences we encounter during our transition in this earthly realm? Some of the imprints transform into different degrees of the spectrum, negative and positive, without our conscious knowing. We refer to this as living unconsciously, living without conscious choice, following the crowd, or other unconscious humans living this earthly dimension. Just moving with the majority of unconscious emotion, and that's E in parentheses, this is often referred to as society or the norm. Now, let's dive all the way into this. Let's look at what happens when just one human being begins to become conscious. Conscious about the energetic imprints they accumulate, conscious about the choices they make, conscious about their thoughts, conscious about their emotions, conscious about their intentions, conscious about their energy. What happens when one human being becomes conscious? Unnecessary chaos occurs. I was given a word from the divine many years ago, and the word was, love is fear in balance. I have held that word close to me and have pondered upon it many, many, many times over these years, trying to understand the deeper meaning of it. And now I believe I finally understand it. When something remains in an extreme region, it creates an imbalance. Too much fear creates a state of stagnancy and deterioration. Too little fear creates carelessness and a false state of physical invincibility. Too much of a good thing is just as harmful as too much of a bad thing, but it's the experience of the two opposing forces that creates contrast and experiences that we can learn from in the most productive and profound manner. However, when something is in balance, it is in a neutral state and only activated when needed. When fear is in balance and working for us instead of us becoming a slave to it, it serves us well and allows us to recognize that our fight or flight response mechanism is working properly in a situation that appropriately activates it when needed. When fear is in balance, not inappropriately activated, but in a neutral state, neither here nor there, love abounds. We are not to avoid emotions or to numb ourselves to them. We are to experience the full spectrum of emotions, allowing them to flow within you, through you, and then behind you as a seamless stream of energy. We are here to master our emotions by craftily teetering the state of balance, while experiencing each emotion that arises within us. The easiest way to achieve this is by understanding that the emotions you are experiencing are forms of energy that are designed to flow but not to remain. Just like watching a projector slide, as each slide changes, we observe the image, perceive whatever thoughts that come to mind, or if no thoughts come to mind, we just simply observe the image and then we move on to the next slide and repeat the observation cycle again. It is no different with our emotions. We observe, allow whatever thoughts to come to mind, and then release the emotion and move on to the next emotion or the next thing that is in the forefront of our right now experience. Emotions were not designed to be held onto, not the positive ones or the negative ones. We are just simply to observe, feel the fullness of it, and then allow the energy to continue to flow. When we do that, we are allowing ourselves to move along with the flow of energy, the flow of life, and not against it. Moving against the flow of energy causes a myriad of complications, including sickness, disease, debilitating fear, and the lack of life in general. So let's not do that. Decide to make an affirmative decision right now to not resist against the flow of energy within you. Allow yourself to receive and move with the flow of energy. Allow yourself to craftily teeter the state of balance with each passing emotion, with each passing thought, with each passing experience. Allow yourself to master your energy, to be the alchemist of your own life experience. When you do that, you are allowing love to abound within you. Whether you consciously realize it or not, we are swirling in the center of the necessary chaos right now. You, me, all of us. And the only purpose of it all is to remember and acknowledge our own divinity and to use it accordingly with purposeful intention and integrity, and to become conscious thinkers, conscious alchemists, and conscious creators once again. We are always destined to return to our true soul essence. We purposefully designed it that way. You brilliant, magnificent creator. You. And that concludes Chapter 8, Why Unnecessary Chaos. I'm sending you all lots of love, lots of light, and lots of activation energy.